Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and I think you guys know what we're here to discuss and talk about today's events. And I want to share with you my thoughts on some things and also talk about some gun stuff, specifically about the events today, what I think happened, because I'm not really seeing a lot of information online regarding the guns, and just like other events in the past, you know, the story of human history is told through the barrel of a gun, whether we like it or not. Everything from wars to assassinations like this, because this is a political assassination. And we do need to understand it, try to figure out what happened, and talk about it and learn from it. So, obviously, we're talking about the political assassination of Charlie Kirk today. And this one hit home because while I think I'm a little bit older than the demographic and the age that Charlie Kirk and his outreach at Turning Point USA really tried to go after, as an educator that is around middle school and high school students, I have seen the profound and positive impact Charlie Kirk has had on the next generation of Americans. And it's been very, very positive. And even people that I know have disagreed with him have expressed in the past their appreciation of him when it came to dialogue. And Charlie Kirk was doing good work of bringing dialogue and conversations to college campuses, getting younger people involved in politics, and getting them thinking. He was not a radical. He was definitely not violent. He was extremely well educated, extremely intelligent. And it's, okay if you disagreed with him, whatever, because the story of today is not about whether you agree with him or not. It's about tragedy. And it's a lesson for ourselves moving forward on how we can all positively affect the world. One of the things that I think is kind of an underlying point to a lot of the videos that I make, especially on this channel, is talking about being a good person. I know this is a gun channel, right? We talk guns, we talk occasionally politics, we talk whatever, sometimes it's just chit chat here. And when I bring up videos about, the mean comments of the week or my frustrations with the toxic gun community occasionally, or my issues with certain politicians, I always try to reiterate the fact it's important that every day we wake up and live our lives, even if you don't do it in a huge way, you do try to make the world a better place in some capacity. Be kind to people. You never know the burdens that they carry or the battles that they're fighting. And if you believe in something passionately, and you work hard, and you work to promote that, you can do it in a positive way, even when people dislike you or are against you. There's a civil way of doing things. And Charlie Kirk, while I am not the demographic that he was necessarily going after, it's the younger kids. I always appreciated his videos. His ability to be so witty, quick thinking, and to be able to ramble off information and facts at just an amazing rate. I was always jealous of him for that, because I wish I was that type of presenter and had that skill set, which I don't. And I know that in our world of politics, he has had a humongous impact. So the and I'm sorry, guys. I'm just kind of trying to formulate my thoughts here because I have a lot that I want to talk about and a lot I want to share. I guess I should start off with a little anecdote um, about how this has not affected me from an emotional standpoint because I saw some very close-up footage today in high definition of what happened, and that's something that we do need to talk about in the end. Because we need to talk about the guns. But the Texas gun vault has been affected by this in a little bit, in a very small way, because one of the people that is a huge supporter of this channel, and you guys hear me talk about him all the time, I call him D. It turns out that he's like personal friends with Charlie Kirk. Yeah. So when I saw that, it really did hit home too, because it's just a personal story, and so I kind of feel like Charlie Kirk was, in a way, like a second degree friend of the Texas Gun Vault, if that makes any sense. Like, I mean, I know he didn't know me or the channel, but somebody that really supports the channel was like good friends with him, and that's just like, it's just crazy. But as I mentioned, I saw some footage today that was taken. People were there at the event in Utah, and the amazing ability of, the cell phones that we have today and cameras and all that kind of vlogging cameras and so forth that capture things in 4K. I saw a close-up video of him getting shot in the aftermath. And when I saw it, it's one of those things that, like, it affected me a lot. And it took a few minutes for me to just kind of come out of the shock, because when I first heard the story, they said, "Oh, Charlie Kirk's been shot," and I was like, "Oh my gosh," of course, in my mind, it was like he was probably at some event and some guy, some crazy leftist lunatic went up to him with like a cheap Saturday night special, 22 caliber long rifle, into the belly or something. And he's been rushed to the hospital, is what everyone said. And I was like, okay, we gotta pray he's gonna be okay. And that's just kind of in my mind. I was thinking, like, you think of those types of events because he meets people up close. He welcomes dialogue. Somebody got close to him with a weapon. That's what I assumed. And when I saw that video, I knew from that moment, even though all of the news reports were saying he was in stable condition, he was in critical condition, he was alive, I knew it was over. And even though I was not there, I watched a close-up, personal, high-definition video of the last moments of somebody's life. And that life was taken with a firearm. And it, of course, as I said, we need to talk about that and what I think. And I don't know, it has really affected me emotionally. I'll get over it and things. It's crazy, and I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm sad. Because there's so much hate in this world. And that's all this is. It's hate. It's fueled by hate. It's fueled by evil. I know that evil in this world is I don't know if it's a spirit or an entity. I know some people would say it's the devil. Some people say it would be demons. I definitely feel like there is a intelligent aspect to it, and it's looming in the background. And I've experienced evil, and it manifests itself in different ways at different times. But what's unique about it to me is that it always feels the same. I know it. And I see how this evil intelligence manipulates or works through others to harm people. I've encountered it a few times in my life, nothing where it's like life-threatening towards me, but I've seen it and I've experienced it. And I got that same feeling today. I can't put my finger on it. I can't describe it. I can't quantify it. I can't I can't, nothing. But in my heart, I know it exists. And it's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible feeling. And it's fueled by people's anger and hate and irrationality. You know, I talk about in so many of my videos that there are people that just hate for hate's purpose. They wake up every single day and they don't care about adding to the world in any constructive way. Their purpose is to hurt others. Maybe they go through life feeling that they've been hurt. And so it's their job to bring other people down. I see it in the very toxic gun community where there are people that just because I look a certain way, have a certain, I'm bald, or I present guns or like guns, they hate me. They hate me. I get negative comments on videos. I get thumbs down on just neutral stuff. And that's just a small microcosm of it. But in the political world, I know people, and I try to avoid them, that they wake up every single day. And maybe you guys know people like this. The first thing they do when they wake up in the morning is get on their phone, go on their social media accounts, and just post hateful things about people like Donald Trump, Charlie Kirk, you name it, any conservative, Republican, and it always seems like it goes in one direction. And then in the afternoon when they're on lunch or having lunch, their lunch break, the next thing they do is post a video about how much they hate the person, what that person did, what the person said. And then when they go to bed, they post another thing about how much they hate that person. And they just foment anger. They foment. It's bizarre. When Joe Biden was president, I didn't wake up every day thinking Joe Biden is president. I lived my life. I got up in the morning. I went to work. I taught music to kids. I had a wonderful time realizing the blessings of my life. I have a beautiful wife, wonderful kids. I have an amazing family. Two, great dogs that bring me a lot of joy and happiness, even though I get frustrated with them at times. I have a cool hobby out here, getting to share a passion with so many people in a positive way, that my life is just blessed beyond my wildest dreams, that I didn't think I would go days and not even think about, a politician. Now, sure, I might disagree with that politician, and in polite conversation, or maybe with some buddies, we might joke about, oh, I can't believe they said that, or can you believe they're trying to pass this law? But that's what everybody does. And even if like Kamala Harris was president, I wouldn't wake up every day hating her. I might not like her. I might not like what she stands for or does, but I wouldn't let her live rent-free in my head. I would just be like, okay, we have to fight hard and, win the next election, or, do something positive with the world and change people's minds. And that's what Charlie Kirk did every day. He was very effective at it. So I worry that there is going to be more of this, and it seems like there's more of it going on. Donald Trump had his 2 assassination attempts against his life. We now have Charlie Kirk. We've had these recent school mass casualty events perpetrated by people that are obviously on the left. And it's caused because people every day wake up, like I mentioned, and say things like, this person's a Nazi, this person is a threat to our democracy, this person is this. And these people think, wow, if they get power, they're going to put me in a concentration camp. And it validates the crazies going out and doing irrational things to take lives. I don't know what the answer is, except we all need to be prepared. Because I worry that this could be the beginning of the cracks of our civil society breaking down, because I just don't see how people on any side of the political aisle are going to stand by for much longer when this type of stuff is constantly happening. I don't want things to escalate. I want things to calm down. But I worry that, let's just say in 2 days, 3 days, another conservative, Republican, whatever, has an incident like this. I fear that people on our side are going to say, that's it. It's over. We're you take out one of ours, we're taking out one of yours. And then it escalates and gets out of control. And we don't want that. We don't want that. And I fear that. I truly do fear that. So, I don't know. I have no solutions to the hate. I have no solutions to the anger and the vitriol that seems to be coming from one side. I have no solutions to that. So if you do, let me know, because we need to be positive and spread goodness and happiness and joy in the world. But that's my thoughts on it and how it's affected me. But I wanted to talk guns real fast because I think it is important. Because as I'm filming this right now, they have not caught any perpetrator. They have not caught the assassin. They don't know who it is. Maybe they do. I don't know. I mean, but the media reports I'm getting right now are saying they don't know. And as I said, I saw this video up close, like, high definition. And what I saw was pretty gruesome, pretty graphic. So let's get to the facts of what we know, okay? My personal opinion is whoever did this is a pretty good marksman, has knowledge of firearms, and understands the basics of ballistics, because it looks like, based off of some footage before the event, the shot was taken from like some 200 yards away. Now 200 yards is not like like you're dealing with like a mile long shot or anything. But the average person is not going to be able to just be mad, go down to a sporting goods store, buy a bolt action rifle, put on a basic scope, understand how to get on top of a building, how to, properly set it up, equip it, with probably a bipod scope, be clad in something tactical that looks like, from the videos, they were clad in black, because you can see like somebody way off on the rooftop. They were in the, prone position. So they knew something. They understood vantage points. And somebody that doesn't know how to shoot a gun isn't going to go on day one shot, one kill, 200 yards. Now, I do think, in my opinion, the assassin, the sniper, was shooting for his head. And I believe, because based off of the video I saw, it hit right about here, somewhere in this area in his neck. And I believe that the person that did it did not properly calculate bullet drop, especially from shooting from a higher vantage point. So I think they had probably spent some time sighting in their rifle, practicing, and probably at a range where the target they were aiming at was level with them. That's what I think. And I believe this was planned with forethought, days in advance. And they had not thought in, as I said, the drop from a building in the velocity. But they were only off by 6 inches, 7 inches. I do believe they were going for a headshot. and missed, but it hit his neck. Now, what I saw in the video, if you have not seen it, okay, and you don't want to hear about it, you are free to click away. But I'm only going to use words. I'm not going to show anything, and I'll try to be as factual about it as I could, explain. He's talking. He has a microphone in his left hand. And you see the projectile hit his neck. And based off of what I could tell, you could see the hydrostatic shock. You almost see like the skin like wave. It goes like this. And that told me immediately, this is before we knew it was a rifle, that it was a rifle. I knew it wasn't a handgun. I was kind of thinking, everyone's saying he's got shot. I was thinking somebody in the crowd, 9mm, something close up, and that's what it was. And it was one shot. And I saw the hydrostatic shock. And I think he had a moment of, uh-oh. I think he realized something had happened. And then you just see the blood literally just come out of his neck, down, and he like slumps over. And I personally believe at that point he was dead. I think the hydrostatic shock and the projectile probably severed his spinal cord, did something to his neck. I'm pretty sure he was dead at that point. He might still have had a heartbeat, but I think when it came to functional cognitive abilities, his life had ended at that moment. And it was a lot of blood. And it came out, and if you know about hitting, the carotid artery and the force, it was over at that point. I believe, based off of what I saw, I think it was honestly a .308. I'm going to say it was a .30 caliber projectile. Now, I don't know for sure, and I'm kind of curious if there was an exit. There had to have been. There had to have been. To hit this, it definitely wasn't a 22. It definitely was not a 22. I mean, 22 long rifle. I mean, it could have been 5.56, but I'm going to bet it was not a semi-automatic rifle. I think this person planned enough to know, and was a good enough shot to know, one shot, one kill. They were going to probably not run the bolt on it unless they had to, which meant there's probably no shell casing on top of that building. And we don't know. As I said, I could be completely wrong. Excuse me. My gut is it's going to be a bolt action rifle with a 20 to 32 power magnification scope. My gut's going to be, it's going to be 308. Could be 6.5, which I think that's a little bit too impractical. It's too kind of boutique. I don't think it's 5.56. It might be. It might be if the bullet tumbled, because 5.56 can tumble and create a lot of cavitation and cause just huge wounds. But I think it was 308, 30 caliber, something full power, and I'm just saying that because of the hydrostatic shock. He knew what he was doing. He was confident enough he'd only need one shot. Because I would say that somebody that was not a good enough marksman and didn't trust themselves, they would have gone semi-auto. They would have fired multiple shots. Boom, boom, just to make sure they did their, deed. But this person was methodical enough, knew what they were doing, fired, knew there was no need to fire again, got up and left. And I haven't seen any other video except what you could see from the person on top of that building. It kind of makes me wonder the setup, because getting a rifle out of there'd be too many people trying to get the rifle there and get the rifle out. So obviously there had to have been some aspect of concealment involved, meaning it had a folding stock or something of the like, something that they could pack away. People heard the shot, so it was not suppressed. Put it into a briefcase, put it into a case of some kind, get it out without it being very, conspicuous. But I think it's going to end up being a bolt-action rifle, some type of modification to help conceal it. Like it could be like a modern tactical, bolt action. I'm going to say it's going to be 308, unsuppressed, and the person that did it is going to have firearms experience and knowledge beyond just the basics. This was not done by somebody that just went out on a whim, bought a rifle, a scope, learned to shoot a little bit. It was somebody that's been doing this for a while. Somebody that probably has hunting experience or maybe military police experience, but my gut's going to be they're a hunter. That's just my hunch. It's just my gut. It says that they've taken game like deer or elk or something like that. So anyway, I was just profoundly affected by it. So anyway, there's my predictions. Not that I want to make a prediction. And I'm curious if you guys have any information on the gun that was used, the caliber. Share it. And hopefully as time goes on, we're going to get more information. And the person that did this is going to be brought to justice. So anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. There's not going to be a word of the day. I tell you what, there is going to be a word of the day. There's going to be a word of the day. I didn't think I'd make a word of the day. I quoted Charlie Kirk on my my personal Facebook profile today. And so the quote, if I remember correctly, not because he was a legend. You guys know that. But it was courageous. Be courageous. Have a legacy. I think it was have a legacy, be courageous. So the word of the day is going to be legacy, because the legacy of Charlie Kirk is one that any of us could hope to aspire to. He affected more lives in a positive way than any of us could ever hope. And his legacy is going to be rich for generations to come. So that's it. That's all I got for you tonight. So thanks for joining me here in the garage. Sorry we're here to talk about this. Maybe we'll talk about it more as more information comes out and, the emotions aren't running as high. So, as always, thanks for watching.